So Apple earlier today held its next big press event, coming right on the heels of the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus event from about a month ago. Stay tuned to this episode and we'll talk about all the announcements that Apple made in time for the holiday buying season. All right, so let's just jump right into this. Apple had their media event today, which is kind of becoming their normal. They do their iPhone event in the September timeframe. It used to be the June timeframe, but then they're following right up after that with typically hardware announcements and such, specifically right around the holiday to entice buyers for the holiday season and to do refreshes of their hardware. This year was no different. They were dubbing this one the iPad event, and they talked about some other hardware, but the iPad was definitely kind of their big announcement. They talked for about an hour and 20 minutes. And to be honest with you, the first half an hour was boring. I was literally yawning and saying, okay, get with it. They spent the first half an hour kind of throwing out some stats about the iPhone 6, the iPhone 6 sales. They opened with the launch day for the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus videos from the Apple stores all around the country. It was kind of cool, but like I said, it was a little bit boring. I just wanted them to get to the meat and potatoes. So just really quickly, some of the interesting stats that they spouted out in the first 20 minutes of the conversation was that obviously, we've seen and we've read all of the announcements that this is the largest iPhone launch in history. To date, Apple Pay, which they talked about during the announcement for the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, will actually start in the United States this coming Monday. And the Watch Kit, which is the SDK for the Apple Watch, which will be coming next year, that SDK will be rolling out in the November timeframe. They jumped over and they talked about iOS 8 and iOS 8.1, which is coming soon. So iOS 8, the number that I thought was interesting was that they had a 48% adoption from iOS 7 to iOS 8 in just 4 weeks. It was 26 days, and that's an astonishing number in my opinion. Then they talked about iOS 8.1 and some of the new features that we're going to get. We're going to get the camera roll back for those of you like me who, when the camera roll, say that 5 times fast, went away, we were all very, very annoyed. They're bringing it back. Rumor mill is that it may not be the same camera roll that we got so used to in iOS 7, but they're bringing the camera roll back, which I'm in full support of. iOS 8.1 is also going to, and I'm looking at my iPad with all my notes, is going to be bringing support for Apple Pay, which starts on Monday, and that's available on Monday. So you'll be able to download the iOS 8.1 update to your iOS devices starting Monday. The next thing they jumped into is OS X or OS X Yosemite, depending on how you say it. Some of my viewers give me flack for calling it OS X, but they even said it at the Apple event today. But OS X Yosemite, my note says bunch of boring, cheesy crap we already saw, and I agree with that. They spent way too long talking about Yosemite, showing us the exact same stuff that they showed us a month ago when they made the announcements. Not a month ago, but earlier in the summer when they made the announcements of Yosemite. It was cool to see it all, but I've been playing with the beta for a while, so it was really cheesy, some of the stuff that they did. The call with Stephen Colbert, they had a call with using the continuity and the handoff features, which just, again, it was boring and cheesy. It is available today, so if you have a Macintosh device, whether it's an iMac or a MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, or just a plain old MacBook, you can go out and get the update. I'm actually in the process of building myself a boot disk. I like to do a fresh build of my operating systems. Anytime a new OS, I get rid of all the legacy crap that I've installed on my computer. So I'm actually building a boot disk right now, and we'll be installing that probably over the weekend. Available today for free. And the other thing is iWork, which has been updated. So notes, presentations, and Words is going to be updated, available today for free to go along with the Yosemite update. And then they jumped into the main big meat and potatoes, the announcements of the new iPads. Some of the stats that they threw out there were pretty interesting. They're pretty impressive. iPad Air 2, which is going to be the new device coming out. I'm going to have all the technical specs in the notes below or links to the Apple site. I'm not going to spout them all out. I'm going to give you the information that was kind of predominant in kind of the set-apart features. One of the stats that they gave is over 225 million iPads have been sold to date. And that's insane. They showed some statistics on the top 3 vendors, or the top 4 desktop vendors out there and what they sold just last year alone, and the amount that it was just amazing how many iPads have been selling. So the new iPad Air 2 is coming even thinner than the last one at 6.1 millimeters. They put an anti-reflective coating on the display, which is saying that it's going to cut 56% of the glare, which any of us who use our iPads in the daylight or in studio with lights, that's going to be an appreciated new feature. It's going to be sporting and rocking the A8X processor. It's going to have the M8 coprocessor, 8 megapixel, 2.4 aperture, 1080p, full 1080p video capabilities. It'll have burst mode, time-lapse, slow-mo. It's got dual mics, which I thought was cool. It's got 2 mics right next to the camera on it. Updated to 802.11 wimo and Touch ID. So essentially what we're getting with the iPad Air is an iPhone 6 with a beefed up A8 proc. I'd be very curious to see how much they've beefed that proc up. They say that it's a specifically designed A8X for iPad. So they didn't just take the A8 from the iPhone 6 and the 6 Plus and throw it in. They've done some stuff to it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the benches actually show and what the main differences are. And again, I'm going to have pricing and all that information in the show notes to try and keep this a little bit shorter. They also announced the iPad Mini 3. And the iPad Mini 3 is essentially the iPad Mini Retina 3. It's essentially what I'm holding in my hands right here with Touch ID and a little bit faster processor. That's it. I'm not going to be updating. I didn't do a lot of gaming on my iPad Mini. I use it for entertainment and reading, and just using it as a couch surfing device and such. And I don't see any need. If you're out there and you're new to an iPad and you want to get into the Mini, absolutely, iPad Mini 3 is going to be a great investment for you. But if you're rocking an iPad Mini 2 or an iPad Retina, a Retina iPad Mini, I personally see no need to drop the cash for the Mini 3, especially when you can get this one for $100 cheaper right off the bat. This one's not going away, the iPad Retina, the iPad Mini 2. So both the iPad Mini 3 and the iPad Air are going to go on pre-order October 17th, which is tomorrow, and they will be shipping at the beginning of next week, at the end of next week, my bad. So right around the time, Halloween timeframe is when you could expect to get these. Now, the thing that I was interested in and I thought was actually the coolest announcement of the day was the brand new iMac Retina. So they are going to be producing a third iMac option. You got the 24-inch, you got the 27-inch, and now you're going to have the 27-inch. They're calling it the iMac Retina. And it's actually being dubbed the Retina 5K. And so it's going to have sport a 27-inch monitor, resolution of 5120 by 2840, which is 14.7 million pixels, which is a lot bigger than standard 1080p. It's being dubbed the Retina 5K display. It has 7 times more pixels than your standard 1080p. So for those of you who are rocking a Fios or a cable connection and you've got a big 50 some odd inch TV or however big, if you're running 1080p, this little 27-inch monitor is going to have 7 times the resolution capability as your big TV. It is 67% more pixels than Cinema 4K, which is 4K is the new standard you're seeing in cameras and video work. 4K, you're seeing movies in 4K. This is 5K display, so this is actually 67% more resolution than what is considered the industry standard right now for ultra high definition 4K. It is going to sport a baseline of a 3.5 Intel i5 processor, quad-core. It's going to have an ATI Radeon R9 M29X or upgraded to an M29, I'm sorry, not 29X, but a 290X or upgraded to an M295X, depending on the options. Thunderbolt 2 Fusion Drive 1 terabyte standard. That's pretty cool. I like that. They're going to be starting at $24.99 and they'll be shipping today. So you can go onto the website and order those today. I'm looking forward to that. I'm not going to be dropping any cash for that anytime soon. I prefer having a laptop with an external monitor, and I'm actually kind of bummed we're still not seeing any kind of a 4K Apple monitor. I really, really hope that eventually, within the next year, they take that Retina 5K display that they attached the iMac to and offer it as just a display, Thunderbolt 2 display, so I can plug it into my MacBook Pro. I would love the resolution of that to be used, and I'm one of those hopefuls that we'll get a new cinema display sometime soon. And so the last announcement on the day is they're doing a refresh of the Mac Minis. You're going to get more modern guts, more current Intel processors, a couple of different configuration options in there. They're going to be starting at $499, so $100 cheaper than the previous model. I love the fact that all of the hardware that we've seen coming out from Apple this year is dropping in price by at least $100. I think it's phenomenal. We're getting more storage. Again, you now have the on both the iPad Air and the iPad Mini 3, you're going to have the 128 gig options, and they're starting out at $100 less than last year. And again, Mac Minis will be shipping today. So that's it. That's the big announcement. I thought it was pretty cool. I really like the announcement of the iMac Retina and the Mac Mini, even though I don't need a Mac Mini for anything. I think it's cool that they're dropping the price and giving it some more power. I really am excited about that Retina because I'm hoping that, again, like I just said, I'm hoping that that translates into a new Thunderbolt 2 Cinema, just the external monitor. I don't want the guts. I just want the display. But that's it. Let me know what you thought of the event. Were you as bored as I was when they went over all of the Yosemite features and the iOS features? And wanted them to just jump into the meat and potatoes. Will you be getting one of the new iPads? Are you interested in a iPad Air 2? Are you interested in the Retina Mini 3, the iPad Mini 3? What are you looking forward to of anything that they announce? I can tell you I'm not going to be rushing out to buy any of this. I am going to update, obviously, to Yosemite and iOS 8.1 when that becomes available next week. Just so I can get all the continuity and some of the issues that we've all been seeing with iOS 8 and 8.02. Hopefully that's all going to be resolved with 8.1 next week. But let me know what you think of today's event. Are you excited? Were you ho-hum? Do you think this is enough for Apple's holiday buying season, updating the iPads? Technically, we have looked at a refresh of pretty much everything that Apple has in their consumer product right now. We've seen new Mac Pros, we've seen new laptops, we've seen new phones, we've seen new iPads, we've now seen new desktop platforms and mini platforms. So this year has been a great year for Apple as far as pumping out all new hardware and bringing the price down, which is really, really cool. I think that's a really slick move on the part of Apple. Maybe they're going to increase their market share even more now that things are a little bit more affordable. So thanks again for watching. As always, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/geekwithglasses, Twitter, twitter.com/geekwithglasses. You can get me on Google+, shoot me an email, check out the website, geekwithglasses.net. I don't talk about that very much, but you can always get me on YouTube, Geek W Glasses Live, or just search for Geek with Glasses. And please comment, rate, subscribe. Every little bit helps the show. I want to put out as much content as possible, and your rating and subscribing helps me with financing some gadgets and stuff to talk about. So feel free to give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you in the next video. Hope you have a good day, and talk to you soon.